Earlier, I sat down with Brian Stiller. He's Global Ambassador for the World Evangelical Alliance, and we discussed his involvement in both politics and faith. He recently authored a new book, Find a Broken Wall, 7 Ancient Principles for 21st Century Leaders. Brian, thank you for stopping in your travels around the globe as an ambassador, looking at governments, looking at religion, looking at Christianity. Help us understand what politics was really designed to be all about.
Politics is a gift of God. Politics is really about the polis, the people, learning to live together.
Religious characterizations move all through the presidential election race. Why is it so difficult for the Americans to weave that together in a way? There's some things that you don't even recognize about faith.
The U.S. for the last 100 years has been going through a major shift in the cultural, religious, political dynamics. 100 years ago, the mainline Protestants were all that really was. And then in the early part of the century, about 100 years ago, you have this liberal drift and you have a conservative reaction. The conservatives began to develop, originally called fundamentalists, and became concerned not with the social political issues, but they were concerned with what we call the spiritual issues. We left the mainline liberals, as they would say, run the country because they did so on a basis that the Bible would be the foundational vision for the nation. But following the Second World War into the 60s, the radicalization, the growing secularization, the new movements that were in the face of Protestants and Catholics, conservative, it caused a reaction. And under Reagan, you have an enormous growth of evangelicals wanting to get back into what we call the public square because we had been vacant so long. Now what this has done, it has amalgamated with what's called manifest destiny, a vision within the American community that there are lights set on the hill. That comes along with the social political movements of the latter part of the 20th century, and it fuels the religious discord, and it finds itself within the Republican Democrats. The Democrats, which dominated the evangelical South for much of the 20th century, under Reagan, they turned Republican.
All this has taken the good gift of God, politics for the people, and it's left us with polarization and division. Is there a better way?
What I see today in the religious right in the U.S., it deeply disturbs me. But what I see in the religious left also disturbs me.
How so?
Well, it disturbs me in the sense that they demonize the others even as they are demonized by the others. And so neither is productive. They identify Christianity as being either for the poor or for the rich. And those are false dichotomies. And so they're yelling at each other. They aren't talking to each other. And then they use religion, both sides, as a way to bolster their point. And they do what Jesus never said to do.
You've had to navigate this. You've been in political halls here in Canada, in the U.S. You've touched on, battles as controversial as trying to talk Terry Jones down from burning a Quran. How have you navigated it?
We have a popular phrase today called being in the moment, being here now. And I find when I'm with people, regardless of who they are, they're human people. They're people that God cares for. So as I stood in Somalia, in Mogadishu, with a group of expats who were trying to reconstruct Somalia, all Muslims, when they said, "Why are you here?" I could tell them that because I had a simple message, that God loves Somalia, God loves Somalians.
How would that work, though, when we watch political power? It's such an unstoppable machine.
It's like kissing a porcupine with great difficulty. It doesn't happen easily. It takes people of character and largesse.
In the highest office?
In the highest office, but also sprinkled throughout the community. My hope is that as we go through this raucous divide, that there will be a younger generation that will see the futility of this action, and they will see the fallacy of the ideology that has become idolatrous. And they'll recognize that there is another way in which the gospel operates within the body politic. And so when I live in that world, the gospel, the Jesus that I love and serve, is the one that wants to be spoken, and his ways have to become my way. And if his ways don't become my ways, then I'm simply doing it on my own and for reasons that are less than grand.
Brian Stiller, Global Ambassador for the World Evangelical Alliance and author of The Find a Broken Wall. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for my final thoughts on God's politics. We learned today, to quote from our guest Paul Marshall's book, God and the Constitution, that politics should be more like gardening than grandstanding, more like raising children than raising hell. When Jesus was being pressed into political office, the book of John tells us Jesus declined the chance. Jesus was showing us there is an invisible kingdom of the heart and mind, and it is that rule of Jesus, the one on our inner life, that we personalize and take into all dimensions, even politics. Rather than criticize, we're told to pray for politicians. Every one of them I know works hard, gives much, and we are better for it. We have left the Canada in Prayer links in our website, and that gives a good guide on how to pray for political leaders regardless of which side of the border or party line they may be on or you may be praying on. As always, send us your view on today's look into how would God vote. Every contributor gets entered into the Book of the Week here. Register your input online and with our toll-free line or on Facebook, at Twitter, and at Context TV. I'm Lorna Duick. Thanks for watching. Join us next week as we explore life beyond the headlines.